welcome back. If you are looking for movie ideas to stream while staying safer at home, perhaps look to some iconic women for inspiration. Film critic Ryan J. joins us with his favorites. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, how are you, Molly?
I'm good. You look fantastic.
Well, thanks. I wish I could say the same, and I don't see you right now.
You look so
I'm sure you look
festive.
fabulous.
Let's talk about iconic women in movies. You better have Cher on your list, is all I have to say.
Maybe.
So talk about, because one of the themes for this that you want to talk about is gay icons and why these women have become gay icons. So can you explain that a little bit first?
Yeah, recently a friend asked me why Judy Garland was a gay icon, and I just thought that, before Ellen DeGeneres and Neil Patrick Harris, LGBTQ people didn't have famous role models, and we celebrated women who were very strong and successful. Oftentimes in any industry, women had to fight and work harder to succeed than men did, but especially in an industry like Hollywood, where they were famous and fabulous, with their style and their talent, they became very, very celebrated and recognized by the LGBTQ community.
What do you want to say about Dorothy? Because she's one of our favorites of all time.
Right. Judy Garland really is probably the first or maybe the longest running gay icon in Hollywood history. And that's because I think when she played Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy was a character who, right off the bat, instantly accepted people for who they were, made friends with very queer, strange people without judging them. And I think the gay community really appreciated and identified with that. And the term friend of Dorothy even became known as code for gay. So you'd say, oh, he's a friend of Dorothy. She's a friend of Dorothy, back in the, eras where you wouldn't outright say someone was gay.
I never heard that before, that friend of Dorothy
thing. Neither.
I think that's really interesting. Thanks for explaining it, Ryan, because I think a lot of people are familiar with women, strong women, who the gay community associates with and honors and reveres. So it's great to have that explanation. Let's highlight a few movies, and then you can talk about the iconic women in those movies, starting with Big Business, which is rated PG.
Right. Bette Midler was someone who started out on Broadway in the 60s. In the 70s, she was playing exclusively for the gay community. Barry Manilow was her pianist. And, she was always someone who had a big gay following, and she's done amazing movies. When you think about Hocus Pocus, you think about Beaches, and even First Wives Club. She's someone that has a great following. Big Business I chose, though, because it's such a great comedy. It's hilarious. She co-stars with Lily Tomlin, and they are a set of twins, two sets of twins that get separated at birth and have one of the most hilarious stories and journeys in their lifetime of how they eventually come back together and find out that they were, mixed up, switched at birth twins.
I love it. So obviously this sounds like something that you would laugh out loud at.
Oh, it is so funny. I mean, there's so much physical comedy. There were sort of like modern day Lucille Balls in this film, and there's physical comedy. It's great writing. The performances, they're each playing two different characters, and it's just fantastic. Very funny. If you want a good laugh, Big Business.
I love that.
Love it.
Let's move to the movie Nuts, rated R.
Right. This stars Barbra Streisand, and Barbara, interestingly, as famous as she is, only made 19 films in her career. This was number 14. But you think about it, she did Funny Girl, Hello Dolly, The Mirror Has Two Faces. She has such great films. The reason I chose Nuts is because I think it's the one where she really, really steps out of her comfort zone and stretches as an actor. In this film, she plays a high-end call girl who's in a competency hearing about to stand trial for murder. And her scene partner is Richard Dreyfuss. There are tons of twists. It's a courtroom drama, which we don't get too many of these days. It's so fascinating to watch, and you do not see shreds of Barbra Streisand in this role.
Are there two looks in this?
There are. In the flashback scenes, she is very glamorous and beautiful, but most of the film, she's like in a psych ward and she's on trial, and she just, looks like a very gritty version of Barbra Streisand that you'd never think you'd see. It's a great drama, rated R.
She is one of my favorites. I love that.
Love her.
What about The Witches of Eastwick?
Here you go, Molly. Here's your Cher.
Woo woo! Yay!
Cher, who can forget about Cher and the Sonny and Cher show, the 1970s, those fabulous Bob Mackie dresses that became iconic, that made him an iconic fashion designer. And in The Witches of Eastwick, the reason I chose this one, she has Moonstruck. She has also Burlesque, great films. But I chose The Witches of Eastwick because of its themes of sisterhood. We also have Michelle Pfeiffer, and we have Susan Sarandon here, and they were women that didn't necessarily get along well as characters at the beginning of this film, but found that even though they didn't have a lot in common, they focused on what they did have in common to work together, found a bond of sisterhood to overcome the incredible Jack Nicholson in this film. It's a great, great movie, great effects.
Love it. Look at him, right? All right, how about Evita, PG? That's your next one.
Evita, Madonna gets a hard rap, but Madonna was one of the biggest gay icons in the 80s, still is very celebrated by our community today, and this was the film that she won a Golden Globe Best Actress award for. And this film, it's like, she had a bad rap always for not being a very talented actress. She was always a great singer, and her music career obviously is iconic, but the reason I chose Evita is because if she can't act, she certainly can pull off a 2-hour music video. And Evita is a fantastic Andrew Lloyd Webber musical, and this film adaptation is wonderful, and she's brilliant in it.
Phenomenal. We just have a few seconds left, Ryan, if you talk just briefly about Straight Talk.
Straight Talk I love. Dolly Parton, Steel Magnolias, 9 to 5. She wrote and performed the music in this. It's a romantic comedy. It's hilarious. I wish it had been adapted to a Broadway musical. Girl from a small town makes it big. She's an underdog. This movie will inspire you, delight you, and you will laugh. Straight Talk I highly recommend. Dolly Parton.
Wow, nobody
Love
can do it.
Dolly's been singing on Instagram every day, too, so you got to check her out on there.
Absolutely.
Way to go, Ryan. Thank you so much. I love that rundown.
Thanks, Ryan.
And you can like Ryan J on Facebook, follow him on Instagram and Twitter, and for full movie reviews, be sure to check out his website. It's ryanjreviews.com.